What if I told you that we know more about the surface of Mars than we do about the bottom of our own oceans? Seriously, over 80% of our planet's underwater realm is unmapped, unobserved, and unexplored. It's Earth's final frontier, a place where the rules of the world above simply don't apply. It's a realm where ghost ships drift on silent currents, where sounds from impossible creatures echo through the abyss, and where legends that sailors whispered for centuries have a nasty habit of turning out to be real. Today, we're putting on our scuba gear and diving headfirst into the crushing darkness. These are 6 of the greatest, weirdest, and most unexplained mysteries of the deep. Kicking off our list is the granddaddy of all maritime mysteries, the case that literally defined the term ghost ship. I'm talking about the Mary Celeste. It's December 1872. A British vessel is sailing in the Atlantic when they spot another ship drifting erratically. As they get closer, they realize something is deeply wrong. The ship is the Mary Celeste, which had left New York a month earlier, but there's no one at the helm. In fact, there's no one anywhere. A boarding party cautiously steps onto the deck. The ship is in perfect sailing condition. The sails are set, the cargo of 1,700 barrels of industrial alcohol is untouched, and there's a 6-month supply of food and water. Personal belongings, including valuables, are still in the crew's quarters. It's like the crew just evaporated. The only things missing were the ship's single lifeboat, a navigational instrument, and the ship's papers. The last entry in the ship's log was written 10 days prior and gave no hint of any trouble. So, what in the world happened? This is where it gets weird because every logical theory has a hole in it. Pirates? Nope. Nothing was stolen. A mutiny? Unlikely. The captain was known to be fair, and there were no signs of violence. The ship was totally seaworthy. One of the more popular theories involves the cargo. Industrial alcohol is volatile. The captain, fearing an explosion, might have ordered everyone into the lifeboat to wait at a safe distance, tethered to the ship. But what if the rope snapped? They'd be adrift in the vast Atlantic, while the Mary Celeste sailed on like a silent tombstone. It's plausible, but it's just a theory. The truth vanished with the 10 souls who were aboard. The Mary Celeste became the poster child for the ocean's unsettling ability to simply swallow people whole, leaving behind a perfectly preserved, floating mystery. In 1997, the Cold War was long over, but the high-tech hydrophones the U.S. Navy had placed across the Pacific to listen for Soviet submarines were still active. And one day, they picked up a sound that made scientists sit bolt upright. They called it the Bloop. This wasn't just some random gurgle. The Bloop was an incredibly powerful, ultra-low frequency sound that lasted for about a minute. It was detected by sensors over 5,000 kilometers apart. To be heard from that distance, the source had to be monstrously loud, way, way louder than a blue whale, the loudest known animal on Earth. The immediate and frankly coolest theory, a monster. A Cthulhu-sized, deep-sea behemoth waking from its slumber. The sound's profile resembled that of a living creature, but one far larger than anything we've ever discovered. For years, that was the tantalizing possibility. But, as is often the case, science eventually came along to offer a less fun, but still incredible explanation. After years of analysis, NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, concluded and decided the bloop was the sound of an ice quake. Essentially, a massive iceberg, cracking and breaking away from a glacier in Antarctica. As the ice fractures, it creates a powerful low-frequency sound that can travel across an entire ocean basin. So, probably not a kaiju. But can you believe that the sound of breaking ice can be so powerful, it was once mistaken for a world-ending sea monster? It just shows you the sheer raw power of the planet hiding in the depths. Now we move from mysterious sounds to a mystery you can see, but not quite believe. Off the coast of Yonaguni, a Japanese island, lies something that defies easy explanation. In 1986, a local diver looking for new spots to observe hammerhead sharks stumbled upon it, a massive underwater rock formation, the size of a football field. But this was no ordinary reef. It featured immense, flat terraces, gigantic stone steps, and perfectly straight 90-degree angles. It looked architectural. It looked man-made. It was named the Yonaguni Monument. The man who discovered it, Masaki Kimura, a marine geologist, became convinced it was the ruin of a 5,000-year-old lost city, a Japanese Atlantis, sunk by an earthquake. He claims to have identified walls, a castle, a triumphal arch, and even a stadium. Now, hold on. Mainstream geologists have a much simpler explanation. It's all natural. They argue that sandstone, which this monument is made of, naturally breaks along straight planes, creating sharp geometric shapes. They say the steps and walls are the result of natural erosion and tectonic activity. So is it just a classic case of pareidolia? Our brains seeing patterns, like a face in a cloud but on a geological scale? Or are we looking at the remnants of an ancient civilization we know nothing about? Scientists have dived there for decades, and the debate rages on. One side says it's just a weird rock. The other says it's a lost city. What do you believe? Either way, a structure this bizarre and majestic, hiding just beneath the waves, is one of the ocean's most tantalizing visual puzzles. For centuries, sailors told tales of the Kraken, a colossal monster with giant tentacles that could pull entire ships down to a watery grave. For most of history, scientists dismissed these as drunken tall tales. A squid the size of a bus? Impossible. Then things started washing ashore. Giant tentacles, a massive beak, carcasses of enormous squid found in the bellies of sperm whales. The evidence mounted. The Kraken, or something very much like it, was real. This wasn't a mystery of what, but a mystery of how to prove it. The giant squid, or Architeuthis ducks, lives in the crushing dark of the deep sea. It's a massive, elusive predator with eyes the size of dinner plates. And it doesn't exactly pose for pictures. For decades, we had a monster confirmed to exist, but we couldn't find it. It was like knowing Bigfoot is real, but he's just really, really good at hide and seek. The breakthrough finally came in 2004, when Japanese scientists captured the first ever images of a live giant squid in its natural habitat, nearly 3,000 feet down. And in 2012, they filmed it. There it was. The myth, swimming right there in front of a camera. A living, breathing legend. The giant squid is a perfect odd why. It reminds us that some of the most outlandish stories might just be truths we haven't found yet. And it begs the question, what other krakens are still lurking down there, waiting for their close-up? Let's fast forward to 2011. A team of Swedish oceanographers called Ocean X are using sonar to search the floor of the Baltic Sea for old shipwrecks. Instead, they find this. That is a 60-meter-wide, perfectly circular object, with features that look like ramps, stairs, and other strange geometric structures. It looks eerily like the Millennium Falcon, crash-landed at the bottom of the sea. The story gets even stranger. When the Ocean X team dived down to investigate, they claimed their electrical equipment, including satellite phones and cameras, mysteriously failed whenever they were directly above the object. The media went wild. Was it a sunken UFO? A secret Nazi anti-submarine device from World War II? A natural rock formation? Geologists again poured cold water on the excitement. Samples brought back from the object were identified as plain old rock, basalts and granites. The scientific consensus is that it's a glacial deposit, a rock formation left behind by melting glaciers during the Ice Age, and its strange shape is just a coincidence. But the Ocean X team stands by their story. They insist the object isn't just rock, and they swear by the bizarre electrical interference. The official explanation doesn't account for everything they experienced. So the Baltic Sea anomaly sits in a weird limbo. Is it proof of extraterrestrial visitors? Or is it just a reminder that sometimes nature can create things so strange they look like they came from a galaxy far, far away? We began with a sound and we'll end with one. On March 1st, 1999, the same underwater listening network that heard the Bloop detected another deeply unsettling sound. This one was named Julia. It's a strange, mournful cry that sounds almost biological. It was loud enough to be heard across the entire equatorial Pacific Ocean hydrophone array. Again, the question was immediate. Animal or geology? For a while, the source was a total mystery. It didn't match known earthquakes or volcanoes, and it was another one of those sounds that was just a bit too weird to be an animal we know of. It had that eerie quality of something unknown calling out from the abyss. Can you imagine being one of the scientists listening to that for the first time? What goes through your head? Eventually, science delivered an answer. Like the Bloop, the source of Julia was traced to Antarctica. The culprit was a massive iceberg that had run aground off the coast, scraping along the seafloor. That strange, mournful cry was the sound of a mountain of ice dying against the rocks. And yet, listening to it, even knowing what it is, doesn't make it any less chilling. These sounds, Bloop, Julia, and others they've recorded, are the voice of our planet's hidden world. A world of immense pressure, absolute darkness, and forces we are only just beginning to understand. From the silent deck of the Mary Celeste to the mournful cry of a dying iceberg, the ocean guards its secrets well. It's a place where myths become reality and where ordinary rocks and ice can create mysteries that baffle us for decades. We've barely scratched the surface, and the deeper we go, the weirder it gets. It reminds us that the biggest oddities aren't always in distant galaxies, but right here in the dark, watery heart of our own world. So, which of these deep-sea mysteries gets under your skin the most? And what do you think is still lurking down there, waiting to be found? Let me know below. And if you enjoy unraveling the world's weirdest wonders, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Until next time, stay curious.